Hi everyone, I'm excited to share with you today a simple yet a powerful tool called Namebox. This is a tool that I tested over and over again during the last years with many students. And I choose it because it's less known, it's simple to learn and to use, and it's a very effective tool. It saves a lot of time and makes students and colleagues return to me with a big smile and a good feedback. So we are talking about a tool with a very high return on investment, and by the end of this tutorial, I guarantee that you will be using it, and my bet is that you start to love it. So the plan for this tutorial is to learn the tool, which is pretty simple, you will see, and then see three different scenarios in which you can apply the tool. And stay tuned, at the end there will be a homework for you. So let's get started. Alright, so the name box is here on the left and it's usually showing the current cell. So if I click to A5, then it shows me where I am. As well, if I select a range, it shows me the first cell of that range. But it works the other way around. So for example, if I am to click and in the name box and type A5, then the selection will go to A5. Therefore, I basically tell Excel where do I want to go. But it's not only this. Actually, it's much more because I can as well make selections of ranges using it. So for example, if I put the colon and I say A10, you see it selected the entire range. And it works for multiple rows and columns. So I can use C10 and then it selects me up to column C. Now the task is this one, so we will need to delete some of the data, but let's see first what is this data about. Well, this is a raw data about athletes, and we have the athlete, the country, the year, sport, and how many gold medals he obtained in the Olympics. Now the task, as I mentioned, is to delete 75,000 rows of data, and we have more than 100K rows of data. So now, if you normally do this by scrolling and you click the mouse and you scroll like this down, 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 you just feel like you are getting older. This is not efficient at all. So let me just go back. A2. All right, and I actually measured it takes 8 seconds to select 1000 rows. So now instead of doing that, you can use the name box, right? So how would you do that? So you type the column and select 75K here. And here you go. You selected very fast this reference, this range, and now you just, of course, could right click, select delete, and then delete the entire row. So this single operation saved you actually 10 minutes instead of going with the scroll. So if you have three tabs and you have to do this three times, it's amazing. You can save up to a half an hour just in three simple clicks here. All right, so moving on to the second scenario, and we are in tab case 2 now, and you will love this example. This is when the data comes very nasty, let's say, from the systems, and this is sometimes because the data was merged, and you see basically what you need to do is to fill in the athlete, so you normally manually would go like this, and you have a blank, it should be the value from above. So now let's go back, because doing this manually, it will take a lot of time. So we have 5,000, exactly 5,000 rows here. And first of all, we will need to select this data from A2 to A5000. So now if you go with Control Shift and the arrow down, which is your shortcut for selecting the data, as well is not very efficient because of the blanks. It's blank, blank, blank everywhere. So now you know a better way to select this data, which is, of course, using the name box. We put the column A2000 and now my data is selected. All right. So with this data, what we need to do is basically copy the information where we have blanks from the cell above. So let me show you a very fascinating way to do that, which is, so first step was to select the data. The second step is to go to find and select from the Home tab and go to Special, as we will be selecting here the blanks. Right click OK. So it takes a bit of time. All right, and with this data selected now, what we want to do is to type in the formula bar. So you type here directly, equal, and you want to take for A10, you want to take A9, of course. And now there is a trick. So this is the third part of the solution. So instead of pressing enter, which will only populate the cell A10 with the formula, you press Control and enter together from your keyboard. And what that will do is that you will copy this formula, but adapt it to every row for every blank that you selected. So now if I press Control and enter, you see the data was filled in here. So basically, because here I have A10, here I have A15, and so on, the formula was copied in just two simple steps. All right, moving on to the third scenario, and I'll show you now how to name a range as well, which is something that you can do very fast with the name box. So here we have data from 3 quarters, and we have some customers, and we have some criterias, sales, and there are different scorings to the criteria and different sales. And then we have, this is the previous quarter, then we have 2 quarters ago and 3 quarters ago. And this is something that I currently do for one of my reports. So now the thing is that when we have the new quarter, basically the previous quarter should be copied to the quarter -2 and so on, because now this previous quarter, it's actually 2 quarters ago, right? So now the way to do this is, of course, you can try the Control Shift and arrow, but as well it's very slow because of all the blanks, and it takes some time, all right, until you do this. So what you can do is actually either use the let's select it like this manually, because we don't have too many rows, or you could use as well the name box to select it. So now notice that here, instead of saying B2 to M160, this is actually called quarter one. So let me show you how to do this. So we have quarter one, and actually if you click on the arrow, you see that we have quite a ranges that are named, right? They have a name like this one. So quarter two, if I show you, is the next one. So let's now do the quarter three. All right, so we can do Z3 to, let's say, what is the last one? So we do Z3 colon to AK160, type enter. And now with this selected, we just type a name. And this is quarter three. All right, so now it's a very simple task to copy this data, because when I open the file next time, I just select from here quarter one. It selects me this range. I can copy and just paste it here, with the values or with the formulas if I have any formulas, and so on. So this is a very simple way to Yeah, select your data and to do operations like that are repetitive and are like copy paste. So before we move on to the homework, I want to show you a quick bonus. And if you have a question that sounds like this, can I use this naming in the name box for formulas? Then the answer is yes. And see here in AM2, basically I have defined, I want to calculate the total sales. So the AJ and so on, Q2 and Q1, basically columns. And instead of having here a range from AJ3 until the end, which is AJ160, I have first of all selected this range. I have given a name. Okay, so this is the range, and you see it's already sales Q3, like you learned before. And I can use now the naming of this range in my formula. So then maybe if I delete it, I'll show you that I have a sum. And now when I start to type, it already finds it. And you select it and you press tab. You close the bracket and voila, this is a very good way to use it and to simplify your work. You just define this once and then you can use it as well in the formulas. So now moving on to the homework, what you need to do is go to the case one or use the file that you have, and by using at the maximum the name box, delete from row 2 to row 90K. All right, now I challenge you to think of how you can use the name box on a consistent basis to save you a lot of time. I'm as well looking forward to seeing your comment on how you use this tool already, if you use it currently in your work. And if you have questions as well, don't hesitate to use the comments to ask them. So like this video if you like it, and subscribe not to miss other Excel tips that could help you to work faster, work better, and work smarter in Excel. Thanks, and I wish you to be very fast in Excel.